Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making Captain America's shield from any of the Marvel movies. So let's get into it. So what I'm going to be using to make the shield is just foam core, and then I'm going to just cut it with an X-Acto knife. And then I'll be using some EVA foam for some of the more precise details and stuff. And then I'll just spray paint the whole thing, and I've got a couple of belts for the leather details. And yeah, that's pretty much how I'm gonna make it. Then I'm gonna just hot glue it and use some tape and stuff, so yeah. So the paints that I'm going to be using is just this Regal red, which is actually a metal enamel, but it's from Rustoleum, this one. And it's actually a really nice paint. I've used it before and it looks really, really good. I'll link it in the description for you guys, as with all of these spray paints and everything that I use in this video. And then for the silver, I'm just going to be using this metallic silver from Rustoleum. It's like 2 times paint plus primer. It's really nice. These are only like $5 each, but yeah. And then for the blue, I've got matte ink blue from Krylon Fusion. It's actually super nice paint. Just know that all of those are going to be glossy except for the blue because it's matte. You could also get a gloss one, but yeah, I just had this one, so I used it. And then I'll be using just a clear coat from Rustoleum to clear coat the whole thing. So yeah. I draw a circle on the foam core about 25 inches. That's the most accurate to the real movie shield. And then the way that I'm doing that is I get a piece of EVA foam and I just screw it into the center of the foam core that I'm using. And you're going to have to tape together 2 pieces of foam core unless you could get a 25-inch square of it. I mean, you probably could find that, but I just can't find it in any stores. So I taped it together and then I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. Then for the stripes and the middle circle, I just did 37%, and then for the other stripes I did 21%. I'm using Brain Foo's Captain America Shield formula, and that's just Brain Foo, the YouTuber. He made a Captain America Shield and he put the formulas on his website, brainfoo.com. I'll link them in the description. Then I'm using that to cut out the star as well. I cut out the rings for the shield and the circle in the middle. Now, what I'm doing for the rings is I cut out a certain amount, and with trial and error, you'll see how much of an amount you'll need to cut off, just to make sure that it domes correctly. So, you cut out a certain amount off of each ring, and it should be flat on the first ring, and then by the bottom ring, it should be more domed. And then when cutting it out, you're going to want to be super, super careful to make sure that the edges are quite crisp and smooth, because the smoother they are, the easier they'll go together and it'll make for a better build. I then start taping each ring together and then taping them together to make the shield, and now they should be ready for gluing. Now for gluing, what you're going to want to do is tape the shield together on the outside, like I said before, because you're going to be gluing on the inner seam. And then just make sure you're gonna want to make sure that you have something like masking tape or tape that isn't very sticky, because what I had in this clip right here is I had some super sticky tape and it started ripping up the paper. So I did end up making another shield, and that's what you're gonna see in a couple clips later. But I just decided I'd show you guys to tell you some of the mistakes that I made, because we all make mistakes. I use a piece of EVA foam to scrape off some of the glue residue, because I was just gluing it with a hot glue gun, so there's tons of residue. So I just scrape it off, and then yeah, just use a piece of EVA foam to do that, because you're gonna want the inside to be nice and smooth. But yeah, if you're wondering why there's a piece of sandpaper there, what I did was, since the tape was ripping off the paper, I started sanding it, which is a horrible idea. Do not do that. Like I said before, I actually ended up making another shield, but I just decided to show you this because to highlight some of the mistakes that I made, because no one's perfect and all of us make mistakes. So here's where I made another huge mistake. I started filling some of the cracks in with hot glue. Then I started sanding it off, which is again another horrible idea. Do not do this at all. Yeah, it was just a mistake that I made. You'll see in a couple clips next. I make another shield and it is a lot better than this. Here you can really see me going at that shield with the sandpaper and filling it with hot glue. Oh my gosh, such a horrible idea. Again, just do not do this. I do not know what I was thinking here. I honestly just wanted to save this shield so bad, but yeah, I ended up making another one, and I used the exact same steps, so the other clips they totally work. Prime example of what not to do. Okay, we finally got to the part where I did not mess everything up. So, if you're wondering why there's a star engraved in there or cut in there, what I did was I just used BrainFu's star template that he had on there, and then you just print it out, and then you just trace it on there. You just score it in with an X-Acto knife, and if you're wondering why it's painted red, I tried to paint it red. This is not the one that I use, by the way, obviously. But I'm covering the whole thing with Elmer's glue. That will help to cover up some of the rips that I had, because obviously the new one, it has rips. It's not perfect, but it covers up the rips once you cover it up with Elmer's glue. It works really, really well. You're gonna have to use a paintbrush to apply the Elmer's glue, or you could use Mod Podge. It works well. I cut out a template for the strip that goes under the shield. Now, this is a detail that you don't have to add, but I suggest adding it if you want it to be very accurate. But it's basically just a little under an inch. I think it's like half an inch strip that just goes around the inside of the shield. I then cut that strip, that paper template. I traced it onto EVA foam. 1 millimeter EVA foam is ideal for this. I traced it onto there and then I cut it out. And the EVA foam that I had wasn't long enough, so I had to cut out like a ton of strips, like 4 of them, and then just put them around. And then I just hot glued on there. I start cutting out a paper template for the strap bracer things, I guess we'll call them. They're just the shapes that the straps glue onto, and I'll link these templates in the description for you guys so you can cut them out and make this shield yourself. So I cut them out, and one has to be bigger than the other one. So if you don't want to use my templates, which you should, but if you don't want to, one has to be bigger than the other one because the bigger one is for the arm strap, and then the smaller one is for the handle strap. So yeah. I then start tracing the paper template onto 1 millimeter EVA foam, the exact same stuff that I used for the strip. And I've like a lot of this stuff. You could buy it at Walmart in like a pack of 12 sheets, I believe, and it's like $5 for that. But I start tracing it on there, and then I'm cutting it out with an X-Acto knife. And you're gonna want to put a self-healing mat like on top of your desk or whatever you're cutting at, or just like a piece of cardboard or something, to make sure that you don't cut through your surface. So I'm cutting that out, and then I am hot gluing it on the same way that I hot glued on the strip. You're gonna want to make sure that these pieces are center when putting them on. What I did is I put a piece of tape on there, and then I just glued them right there. So yeah, I cut out a paper template for the piece that holds the strap, like the little metal piece that holds the strap. So I cut that out, and the way that I did that is I just like put a paper on the strap bracer thing, and then I just got the corner, and then I just cut out 2 rectangle holes, and then folded one side up, and yeah. I then start cutting it out of the 1 millimeter EVA foam that I used for everything else, but it was a little too thin, so I tried to cut it out of foam core, but that didn't work because it doesn't fold very well. So I then came back to the EVA foam, and what I did was I cut out 3 of them and glued them together. And then the piece that folds up, that holds the strap, I cut that one off, and then I hot glued it on. I hot glued those on after. So yeah. I keep trying to cut out the foam core, but it doesn't work. It just starts falling apart because like it just doesn't fold very well. So that's the issue that I had with that. But yeah. So I then go right back to the EVA foam, and I decided that I'm just gonna do 3 layers. If you have 3 millimeter EVA foam, this would probably end up working like a lot better. But like I said before, I just did the 3 layers. I hot glued it together, and it honestly worked out quite fine. And then I just cut off the piece that holds the actual strap, and then I glued those 3 together, and then the other 3 that just sit there and hold the other decorative piece. Then I just glue those together. So yeah. I then start cutting it out, and you're gonna need like 4 of these. So I'm using an X-Acto knife to cut it out, and make sure that your blade is quite sharp, because foam really dulls your blades up. And then I can't emphasize how much you need to put something under what you're cutting so you don't mess up your surface because my desk is quite destroyed from all these things that I've made over the years, and it's, yeah, just make sure you put something under there. And then keep cutting and cutting and cutting, and do listen to music or watch a movie or video or something while doing this because it gets quite tiring and annoying at sometimes, but it is extremely worth it. It does pay off. And then start hot gluing the straps inside of the bracer or the things that hold them. What I do is I just put it inside of the foam, the EVA foam piece, and then I just wrap it around and hot glue the bottom. Also, if you're using belts like I am, they generally have a brown piece on each side. So what you're gonna want to do to save or to save leather is just rip that in half and then use the top and the bottom piece, and it also makes it thinner. So yeah, I then start cutting out the piece that holds the bottom piece that holds the leather strap, which isn't actually a strap. It's just it goes on the sides. You probably know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, well, just look at a picture of the back of the shield and you know what I'm talking about. But pretty much it's just a rectangle, and then there's just a rectangle cut out in the middle for the strap piece to go inside. So yeah, that's all it is. And then start cutting and gluing and cutting and gluing, and you're gonna need about four of these, I believe. So yeah, four of these, and it doesn't really matter the color of them. Even like it could be like a red sandwiched with a blue. It really doesn't matter because they're all gonna be painted silver. And then start gluing the straps onto the shield before they're painted. You're not going to want to do that. What you're going to want to do is just paint them first and then put them together. Yeah, before you even put them together, you want to paint them. You're going to want to paint them first, put them together, and then glue them on. You're going to also want to paint the whole bottom silver. I start masking off the blue part, which I had already painted off camera. Not sure why I did that, but I painted it off camera just with the Krylon Fusion paint, which is actually really, really nice, but I mask off that blue part so I can spray the star silver. I mask off the star again because there was lots of bleed through onto the blue, so I mask off the star and then spray the blue again to cover up that silver bleed through. And to do this, you're gonna want to try to get all the straight edges on the star with some pretty straight edges on the masking tape, and then cover up the pointed pieces with like a big piece of tape, and then just stick your X-Acto knife into the groove, and then just push it forward, and it should cut a super straight line. That's what I did. I cut out a paper template for the strap bracket, and the reason I'm doing this again is because the templates that I cut for the things that hold the straps, one's bigger than the other one, so the bigger one I actually had to cut out another piece. So yeah, and it's quite straightforward. It is literally the exact same thing. You're just cutting out a bigger one, depending on the size of the strap bracket thing. I seriously have no idea what to call that. I then start cutting this new template piece out of EVA foam, and you're gonna need four. No, no, no. You're gonna need two of these, and then so pretty much six of them because each has to be 3 layers thick. You're probably not gonna make this mistake, but if you do, this is how you fix it. I then start hot gluing the new strap brackets together, and you're probably not gonna make this mistake again, like I said before, but if you do, that's how you fix it. And again, I'm not perfect, but the shield turned out really good, so yeah. I then start cutting out the rectangle strap bit piece that holds like the leather detail. And again, it's the same straightforward process. I just had to make it a little bit bigger, and then you're just hot gluing 3 layers together. And yeah. Again, I'm just cutting these out. Quite straightforward process. Something that you can actually do with EVA foam pieces like this is you could spray them with a couple coats of Plasti Dip, and then that'll seal them up, and then it'll make the painting process a lot better. And Plasti Dip is just a rubber spray that really seals up your foam and makes it look really nice. I then start gluing the belt strap pieces to the EVA foam bracer bit things. I'll call them, I guess, bracer bits. Um, and then I grab that whole assembly and I start to glue it onto the shield, just hot gluing it and making sure that everything is in the right place and that it all fits right together. And yeah. Now this is quite straightforward. Just make sure you've bought enough belts to do the project. I just hit up the Goodwill and then just got like a ton of belts there. But just make sure that your belt is the right brown and it's flexible enough and it'll work for the thing, you know what I mean? I then start to mask off the whole middle circle so that I can start spraying on the silver, and then the way that I do this is I put the masking tape on the edges, and then I just stick some paper there in the middle so that I'm not totally just destroying the foam board and ripping up all the paint that I put up there. Now, super straightforward process. Yeah, it's just super easy. Now that I've sprayed on the silver, we can start masking off the now we can start masking off the silver and the middle circle so that we can start spraying on the red, and it's just that Regal red enamel. Guys, so I just finished the shield, and this is what it looks like on the front. Yeah, I'm honestly super happy with it. And then this is what the back looks like. Let me show you guys what it looks like as I put it on here. This is what it looks like on, and then, well, the back. That was a bad angle, but this is what it looks like on me. It's actually really nice. So yeah, I plan on clear coating the whole thing, but I just haven't done that yet. I don't know if I'm going to, and I might battle damage it, but I'm just not too sure. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video or found it informative in any way, don't forget to drop a like down below and subscribe for future content. I upload every single Friday and come back next week to see the video on how to make the shirt for the Captain America cosplay.